Hi, Tim Yao here, Community Pioneer in Roundhouse Park and Cringleford, and welcome to this week's edition of Cringleford Assembly. Now, I'm sure you know that famous children's song, hands, face, space, knees and toes, knees and toes, hands, face, space, knees and toes, knees and toes. No, obviously it's not that, but you must have been aware of the government's new guidelines, hands, face, space. So this week we're going to be reflecting on that and what it means for us, but kind of leading into our session today is a song, as we usually start with a track. So we're starting with Natasha Bedingfield, Hope, which is a 2015 song. So that's coming up right now.
You see, I got hope, so we can use a little, even when you don't, and I won't let go, 'cause a little bit of it can go a long, long way. I got hope, yeah.
That was the 2015 song by Natasha Bedingfield called Hope. It's an inspirational song written to empower women and lift the stigma of mental health issues. Now, you may not be suffering from kind of mental well-being issues at the moment, but we all are lacking something. We're all lacking a little bit of hope. And in the lockdown, hope coming out of the lockdown. I wonder today, what does hope look like for you? The government's new hands, face and space slogan may be overly simplistic, but it is memorable. I wonder if that's got stuck in your head yet, and whether you've been using it with your kids or your family or your workmates to kind of get them back on track and remembering to kind of protect each other during the coronavirus. Have you downloaded the new NHS COVID-19 app? So far we've had about 10 million downloads, and if you disregard the kind of under 10s, that equates to about 1 in 6 of us as a population. Now, is that enough? Does that feel like good odds to you for protection? When I looked at the app earlier, it said risk level medium, in bold, medium. Now that means our local authority has a high or rising level of infection. How do you feel about that? Does that feel safe? When I looked at that, I thought, should I panic? Is this a kind of situation where I should start panicking? You know, the thing is, we are in a bit of an in-between place. We're kind of out of lockdown. We're kind of not in lockdown. They want us to go out and spend our money and go to school and go to work. But if you can, stay at home, you know. So, you know, go to the bars, but be back by 10 o'clock. Don't mix with more than 6. It's a little bit confusing, isn't it? It's a little bit, should I go out? Should I not go out? How far should I go with this? Hands, face and space deals with our external conduct. You know, this is giving some pointers like how to best kind of conduct yourself, how to react and respond to other people in a kind of public space. But what about our internal space? How do we conduct ourselves internally? I wonder if you're being plagued by fear of this invisible killer, the coronavirus. Are you being plagued by suspicion? You know, who's carrying the virus? Could it be the person next to you on the bus, in the street, at work? Or are you being plagued by loss? You know, what have you lost during this time, whether it's loved ones or situations that you could have been involved with? You know, how do we deal with that internal conflict? We can do hands, face and space, but we can't do that for the inside. In 56 AD, the Apostle Paul wrote to the burgeoning church in Rome, and he said these words. He said, "Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, and faithful in prayer." He was writing to them because he wanted them to live lives of love in action. He was trying to give them some tips of how best to deal with that kind of internal side of them. Hope, patience, and prayer. Hope, patience and prayer. I wonder, who are you trusting to get you through this in-between time we find ourselves in? Who are you turning to? Who are you looking to for help, encouragement and support? How will you keep going? With all the stuff that's been thrown at us, new rules, changes of life, kind of how we socialise, how we live, how are you going to keep going through it all? Do you feel like giving up? Are you just going to forget about it all, I'm just going to please myself? How are you going to get through this? Who will you put your trust in? You know, for that church in Rome, in way back when, they were going to face times of extreme difficulty. Emperor Nero was in charge, and soon they were going to face a cataclysm for them. This kind of growing community that was trying to care for and reach out to their neighbours to show love and mercy. But they knew that they had to turn to something. They trusted God. They trusted that God would get them through this. Not that nothing ever bad would happen to them, but when they were faced with persecution and fear and reprisals, that God would walk them through it, give them the strength and the courage to deal with the worst that life could throw at them. Who will you put your trust in at this in-between time we find ourselves in? You know, Paul talked about prayer. And for me, prayer is a way in which we are shaped, we are strengthened, we can become the people we're really meant to be. When we lay ourselves before God and say, look, here I am, with my weaknesses, with my faults and my flaws, God, come and help me through this. For me, that's what prayer is. Putting ourselves before God and saying, God, I need you. I need you to get through this difficult time. I wonder if you could turn to prayer during this pandemic we find ourselves in. Well, that's it for this week on Cringleford Assembly. I hope you got some food for thought there about hope, patience and prayer. Hopefully you can tune in next Sunday at 10 a.m. You'll find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter. If I don't see you then, I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.